Hi, it's Michelle with the Medicine Couch, and today I want to talk about burnout. We hear about it all of the time because it is rampant in medicine, but sometimes people may not realize what exactly is burnout. Do I have burnout? And if I am burnt out, what can I do about it? A lot of people are choosing to walk away from medicine, which is certainly an option that we have. But many other people don't want to walk away. They spent so much time and money to get where they're at, and it's just very disheartening to think about leaving medicine for them. So, I've invited a special guest today who knows a lot about burnout and how to mitigate it. And we're going to dive into that topic and answer some of those questions. So, definitely stay tuned.
I'm Hope Cook. I'm a PA. I've been a PA for 22 years, most of them in dermatology. And I suffered through 2 rounds of burnout. And that sort of led to an obsession with self help books, and then started a podcast on burnout, joined a life coaching course, started life coaching, and yeah, working on a book about burnout. So I'd love to talk more about burnout.
It's funny how something that happens to ourselves leads us in this path of discovery. You study so much information and you learn so much, you just want to share it with other people to help people because it really is a problem. And if we can help people stay in their careers and actually be happy in their career, then I think that for both of us, we would love that so much. So that's what we're going to dive in today. So you mentioned you have this podcast, you're a certified life coach, right? And you've got a book coming out. And I think that you've got a course or some group coaching coming out too, right?
Yeah, so that's just in a few weeks. So September 13th, we'll start weekly group coaching, and that walks people through, overwhelmed, stressed out, burned out. I don't know what I'm going to do, all the way through to, okay, here's my plan. This is it.
That course sounds great and exciting, and I think something that would be really helpful. We'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end of the video, so stay tuned to hear about that. But right now, let's dive in and talk about the definition of burnout. I know people hear and see this term all of the time, but what exactly is burnout, and how do you know if you're burnt out?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. How do I know if I'm burned out or just stressed out? So there's a spectrum. Burnout often starts as stress and overwhelm, but it builds up. And the difference between being stressed out and burned out is you don't bounce back. When you take time off and you're stressed out, a lot of times you feel better. You get back from vacation, things are not so bad. With burnout, there is a deep sense of cynicism, frustration, emotional, physical exhaustion. A lot of providers talk about the dread that they feel when they pull into the parking lot, or the heaviness that they feel on Sundays or Monday mornings. And this really does start to affect patient care. You don't feel the same way you used to about caring for patients. Patient outcomes aren't as good when they have a provider who's burned out. So it's a serious issue, and that's partly why I'm glad we're talking about it, because patients need providers. The AAPA says that if every PA who is thinking about leaving medicine due to burnout and overwhelm left, the impact to the healthcare system would be astronomical. But really, the cost that I'm thinking of is the cost. What is it costing you? What is it costing you as a
Mhm.
provider? What is it costing you as a parent or a partner? What is it costing you in terms of your health?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you were talking about the effects on patients. And of course, that is very important. It's the core of what we do in our jobs, but the core of our lives is being affected. I know I burned out quickly in medicine, and it was a struggle sometimes at the end of the day. I kept thinking, well, I should study this, or I should, I can make these changes to improve. But I just was so burnt out. I was so exhausted. My mind just wanted to shut off that I couldn't even sometimes do some of the things I wanted to make things better.
So, when providers or anyone is burned out, your body is often in a state of fight or flight or freeze. And so
Mm.
you can't think clearly, like you're not able to logically problem solve and think, okay, I'm burned out. Maybe I need to do A, B, or C. I mean, your brain cannot think like that. The only thing your brain is thinking is danger, danger, danger. Get away from this job. It's not safe. I need to do something else, but you're just frantic. You're like, or you're just collapsing in a puddle of helplessness.
We talked about the problems of burnout and how it can affect our lives and our patients' lives, but there's actually probably a little, I don't know if it's a silver lining, but there's something good about having burnout. What do you think that that is? Why can burnout sometimes be a good thing when you recognize you have it?
Burnout, y'all, is a wake up call. It is a wake up call that something needs to change. It may be something you can control. It may be something you can't control. It may be a toxic job or a crazy boss, or it may be a broken system that you have no control over at this point when you're not able to think clearly, or it may be something that you can control. So, more than anything else, burnout is a wake up call that your life is speaking to you. Your life is telling you, like, something needs to change. We can't keep going like this.
And that may sound kind of trivial to some people, but I've had some moments in my life of clarity when I've recognized something, and when you listen to what your body is and yourself is telling you, it really can be useful because you have to identify it, right, to be able to do anything about it. So, yes, no one wants to be burnt out, but it is a good thing that you can identify that because that means that it can be worked on and can be fixed.
And, just like a fire burns things down, burnout will burn away the parts of your life that aren't serving you. And there are parts of your life that probably need to shift. It may be that you aren't great with boundaries. It may be that you are putting everybody else's needs in front of your own needs. I mean, for each person, it's individual, but there are parts that'll burn down and new parts that'll rise up. So it's not necessarily like a my life is doomed, my career's over sort of situation.
And which is great news and needs to be reinforced that message because, like I said, so many people think, oh, that's it. I'm burnt out. There's no way I can survive in this system. And I've had people email me that and they're like, I just don't ever, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I see no future for myself in medicine. And I understand that point of view, but then I also have been doing this channel enough and talked to enough PAs to know that really within medicine, there's a pretty good fit for just about everybody for the most part. I
Mhm.
mean, it's going to take, it may take some work to find it, but I say that for people to have hope that there are jobs that may be much better suited to you. And it may be the whole difference in your career. But when you're burnt out, sometimes it's hard to even think about that or to imagine those possibilities and stuff. So that's what we're trying to get to the meat of burnout here and how you fix it because it's so important for longevity in your career to address it if you're suffering from it.
I use the metaphor of a caterpillar going into a cocoon. So, just like a caterpillar, we're providers, we're going along, doing things like we think we're here to do, we're providing for our patients, and something begins to shift. And people use like words like, all of a sudden I was burned out, but it's really not all of a sudden. It's a subtle change that happens. And just like the caterpillar pauses and starts to go within a cocoon, we really have that first step when you're burned out is to pause. And you're going to have to take a big look at your life and ask yourself, like, what am I feeling? Like, that sounds so woo woo and cheesy, but really, like, what am I feeling? And what do I need? Do I need more time? Do I need more flexibility? Do I need more freedom? You really have to step back and look at your life.
Hard part though, right, is identifying what it is that you need. Because some people I know some friends that I have that are burnt out. They're like, yeah, I don't even know how to fix this, or I don't know what I want. If I knew what I want, I would fix it. So I'm wondering if that's where life coaching comes into play. What does a life coach do and how does it help people with that issue?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I also get the question like, how's life coaching different from therapy or just venting to people?
Right.
Life coaching is it's a lot of listening and asking questions. So it's not giving advice. So unlike therapy, I'm not going to tell you what you should do. Instead, I ask you questions, like, well, what is it costing you if you don't make changes? What do you know deep down to be true, but you haven't admitted to yourself? Or why is that important to you? Like, why does this matter in your life? And so these thoughts get people thinking. And then the second part is I offer tools. So these are just tricks. These are just like methods of getting yourself to see the world in a different way or to problem solve in a new way. And I think that's a big difference between therapy and coaching too, is offering you specific tactics that you can use. And it's also sort of like creating a map. Like here you are right now. This is where you are. Probably not in a good place if you're reaching out to me. And then we then we figure out where would you like to be. And in the beginning, almost nobody knows where they want to be because again, your brain can't think. So it's calming your brain down, getting clear on what's happening right now, what your body's trying to tell you. And then we do get to the stage where we are looking at the future. What do you want to feel? What do you want your life to look like? What's the most important things to you? What are the most important things?
I don't have a family that I have to support, and I had the flexibility to be able to step away. And I noticed that when I stepped away from full-time medicine for about like 3 months, a lot of things started changing. I felt lighter, my sense of humor came back. I just was seemed to be enjoying life more and was able to then look more objectively at what I wanted and be able to dream and things. But not everyone has that luxury. And do people have to? Like, do you have to leave medicine for a while, for an extended period in order to overcome burnout? Or is this something that people can actually work on while they are still have their full-time job?
Yes, you can stay at your current job. People reach out to me and they think I'm going to tell them you have to quit your job. Let's pick a date, you're going to
Mhm.
have to quit. That's not always the end result of burnout. So yeah, what we work on is slowly opening up your brain to possibility. What that looks like practically speaking is finding glimmers of hope. So you find things that light you up. You start noticing, hey, when I go to Zumba, I actually feel good. Or when I take a pottery class, or when I cook an Italian meal and play Italian music, little tiny things. I call them breadcrumbs. So you just sort of introduce these into your life. You are not going to make time because you can't possibly make time. Instead, you're going to have to carve out these tiny little snippets of time when you can add in things that fill you up. And it has a paradoxical effect because you would think that you can't possibly put more on your plate. But the more of these little things you add in that fill you up and recharge your battery, the more energy you're going to have, the more bandwidth you're going to have to start looking at your options. So that's one of the first things I do. And then I reassure people you don't have to quit. There are so many possibilities out there. It's like a Rubik's Cube you can turn a million different ways, and you can't see the possibilities at first, but we'll get there.
Part of this reason that you're, I imagine, starting this coaching program, right? Or this group coaching that you're doing is to help people where they're at right now without having to make these massive changes.
Yeah, so I have the podcast, but it's me talking into a mic, by myself. And people are listening, but I'm not getting a lot of feedback. There's no interaction as I'm talking. So that's partly what I was thinking with the group coaching is there's so much power when you're in a group. You sort of bring yourself to a new level and you're able to go a lot farther when you have people with you. It's the accountability, it's the, mentorship, it's the group mentality that we can do this. We're all together. We're going to heal from our burnout. And as I'm writing my book, I was sort of walking people through the steps in each chapter. And it makes sense to walk real people through the steps in a group setting. So I'm excited about that.
Group settings are nice too because you never know what somebody else is going to say or share or talk about the situation they're in that resonates with you. So there's the great stuff that you're putting out there to them, but you also are learning from other people in the group as well. So how long does that course go for?
8 weeks. And it'll be 1 hour a week on Zoom. And yeah, I totally agree. When you hear other people say stuff, it also reminds you that, like, I'm not alone. It's not that I'm a weakling or a quitter. It's like, yeah, this is real. Other people are going through this.
Such an important point because I think, medicine is full of high achievers and all of us, have had to do a lot to get where we're at. And it's so easy to start feeling like there's something wrong with you. Like, oh, I'm just not smart enough to practice medicine. I get that from so many people. And it's not that you're not smart enough, it's that we're working in a system that is really stacked against us. I think that there's just things inherently wrong with our healthcare system. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many parts of our healthcare system that are broken. Having EMR and being available 24/7, even when you're at your own doctor's visit, when you're on the beach drinking your pina colada, like you can never get away. And then having to justify your medicine of choice for a patient to PBMs and insurance companies and just fighting. There's so much energy that goes into that. And so, as one individual person, you're not going to make a huge impact if you're burned out. So, the first step is to take care of yourself so that then, yeah, you can get involved with bigger issues once you heal.
And so the course is gonna also have tools in it too that people can it's
Yeah.
not just sharing about stuff, it's actually learning how to make some changes yourself, right?
Yeah, practical changes.
When is it starting again?
September 13th. And you can also sign up for my book if you'd like to have little announcements every now and then about when the book is coming out. It's going to walk you through the burnout healing process, and each chapter has a tool that you can implement. So, yeah, go to my website.
Okay, well, I'll have the links to all of the stuff down below, so definitely check that out. Any final thoughts, hope that you wanna leave with people about burnout and our careers in medicine?
Yeah, don't give up. We need you. Patients need you. Your family needs you. There is hope. You will feel better again. There is a way to heal from this and to have an even better version of your career and your life going forward.
Great, such a positive, hopeful message. Thank you so much for joining us today, Hope.
Thanks, Michelle.